Welcome back to Think Thrice Problem Solving. We're going to solve a fun little exponential problem today. So our problem is x times 256 to the x is equal to 1. So if you'd like to give this a shot, go ahead and pause the video. And we're looking for all solutions. All right, we're going to go ahead and get started here. So as with most exponential problems, so a trick that we like to use is using the log. So first, let's start off here and let's bring that x over to the other side to get 256 to the x is equal to 1 over x. So we'll assume that x doesn't equal 0 because obviously that wouldn't work. All right, so now let's take the natural log of both sides. And what that's going to give us is, once I bring this x out, so I'm going to be able to bring my exponent out, I'm going to end up with x, natural log of 256, is equal to the natural log of 1 over x. All right, so that's a good start for me here. And then I can bring that x over, so I can divide that over to the other side, and I'm going to end up with the natural log of 256 is equal to 1 over x times the natural log of 1 over x. So then using that same log rule, I can now bring this 1 over x back up to this exponent, and I can see that now I have the natural log of 256 is equal to the natural log of 1 over x raised to the 1 over xth power. So I'm going to go ahead and take e raised to both of these guys, and that's going to get rid of my natural logs. And now I'm back to 256 on the left, and on the right I have 1 over x raised to the 1 over x power. All right, so looking at this now, so let's take a look and try to figure out what's going on here. So I have something, so if I call this 1 over x equal to a, then I have a raised to a is equal to 256. And what is 256? 256 is 2 times 2 times 2, all the way up to 2 to the 8th. And if I wanted, I could write that as 2 times 2 times 2 times 2, 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And you'll see why I just did that in a second. So now that we've written that out, I see that I have a raised to the 8th power. I have all of these 2's, so what could I possibly do this? So I have 8 2's, so that means that I could be raising a, if a was something that's divisible by 2, to either the 1, 2, 4, or 8th power. But if I look at this, I can kind of clearly see that I can divide this into 4 pockets here, where I would have a 4 multiplied 4 times. That is exactly what we're looking for. So an answer is going to be a times a is equal to 4 raised to the 4th power. So that would mean that 1 over x is equal to 4, or x is equal to 1 over 4. So x equals 1 over 4 is an answer to our problem. And if we go back to our original problem, I can see 1/4 of 256 to the 1/4. So the 4th root of 256 is 4. And if I multiply that by 1/4, I get 1. So our next question is that the only solution? So let's check it out. So this function on the left, x times 256 to the x. So f of x is x times 256 to the x. So let's take a look at that function. And if we take the derivative of f prime of x, we're going to get 256 to the x plus x times the derivative of 256 to the x, which is, so I'm using the product rule, which is going to be log of 256 times 256 to the x. So I can factor out a 256 to the x, and I'm going to have 1 plus x times log of 256. So I notice that this whole thing is greater than 0 if 1 plus x ln of 256 is greater than 0. because 256 to the x, this guy over here, is always greater than 0. All right, so no matter what I put in for x, as long as I'm putting in a real number, that'll always be positive. So when is 1 plus x ln of 256 bigger than 0? So that's going to be true as long as x is greater than -1 over, over the natural log of 256. Okay, so that's a negative number. That's some negative number here, so which is -1 over ln of 256. That's less than 0. Because ln of 256 is positive, -1 over that is going to be negative. Okay, so if x is less than -1 over ln of 256, so let's write that out now. So if x is less than -1 over the natural log of 256, what's true? Well, if x is less than that, then that means that 256 to the x times x is also going to be less than 0, because I have a positive number times a negative number. Okay, positive times a negative is negative. So I know that if x is less than -1 over ln of 256, then x times 256 to the x does not equal 1. Okay, so what I've just shown is I've shown that in the first part, I showed that we have an increasing function if x is greater than 0. So it's increasing for x greater than 0, actually x greater than -1 over ln of 256, which is a very small number. So that means that since it's monotonically increasing, it can only pass through 1 one time. So the only case where I could have another solution is if it's decreasing. And we look at this, and we can see that it's always going to be a negative number, so it can't equal 1. So that means that our only solution is x equals 1/4. So I hope you enjoyed working through this problem with me. If you did, please like and subscribe. And as you're working through problems on your own, think once, think twice, and if you really get stuck, think thrice.